Greetings everyone, I am the Geek Master and thank you for watching my latest pickups video. So, this pickups video follows my trip out to the London gaming market held at the Royal National Hotel near Russell Square on Sunday the 19th of March 2023. I got back about an hour or so ago and I spent today with two fellow YouTubers, Gurnaldinho Plays and Big Game Al, who I would like to thank for letting me join them for the market and after the event, especially the pub with the football, which was an interesting experience. I'm not going to say anything about the result, but if you see who I support or know, I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, great day, but I had to get general entry as early entry tickets sold out on the day I found out I could go, so I wasn't able to buy one. That meant I had to get there for 12, or was the earliest I could go in. So, on my way in, I had to go by Stratford in East London, which I happen to know has two shopping centres by the station, pretty much straddling it. You got a big fancy Westfield on one side with all the fancy shops. It's nice and clean and massive, and cinema and God knows what else on one side, and your standard town shopping centre on the other, which is your standard town shopping centre really. If you go in one and the other, you'll see what I mean. Or if you know what a Westfield and standard town shopping centre looks like, you know what I mean as well. In this case, in Stratford, there is a CX, a Beso and Gazette, which are both similar to CX in there as well. As well as I discovered yesterday, a British Heart Foundation literally round the corner from Beso in there. And I've been to Beso in the shopping centre a few times, and this is the first time I've spotted the charity shop, so I must be blind or something. Or maybe it's new, who knows. I got there about 10:15, so I had nearly 2 hours before I could even get in at the market. But I kind of deliberately went early, stop off at Stratford. I like going there on the way to market. I've had successful pickups from CX there before. I previously picked up 18-wheeler and Lego Star Wars, I think it was, for the GameCube. And I deliberately did not go to Stratford last Monday when I did my day out in London, thinking I will go there this weekend. So, yeah, and I think I'm glad I did, really. I only picked up 2 items. One from CX, one from the British Heart Foundation, it turns out. And slight spoilers, the British Heart Foundation one is probably my best charity shop pickup in quite a while. Not just in terms of value, but in terms of what it is. Anyway, a lot of the shops were shut, so there must have been 11 opening, I'm assuming. But Beso, Gazette and CX are all 10, so I was able to check them all out. Beso didn't really have anything. Gazette didn't either. CX in Stratford is huge. It's got massive wall DVDs at the back, quite a large glass display area outside and inside, plenty of shelves with games. Look round, spent a few minutes looking around, 4, 5, 6 minutes, something like that. Saw games I wanted, saw one for 20 odd quid, which sort of ties into a pickup I'll show you a bit later on. But other than that, there wasn't much there. Checked the anime, there wasn't much, etc. But while walking around, at one point I did spot one thing, and straight away I knew I had to pick it up. So for the PSP, and this is why I said bits I picked up, not games, it's a UMD. It is Octopussy the film. So this is actually my 3rd James Bond film for the PSP after Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. I picked up Casino, I think, at one of the markets last year, which is why I even found out there on UMD. And Quantum, I can't remember where I grabbed it. Might have been November, I'm not sure. Definitely wasn't the same time as Casino, I know that. And this is the first one I've got that's not Daniel Craig, but I'm going to see which other ones there are, and I plan to eventually get them all, because that'd be cool. I've got all of them on DVD. I'd love to get all these ones as well. As you can see, it was £3. And I don't know if they're supposed to be a manual, being a film, I guess, but there's the UMD disc. Here's the back. And this is a Roger Moore James Bond film, I think from 1983. Woo, 1983. So I think it was his last but one. I think it's after For Your Eyes Only and before Moonraker. Not Moonraker. View to a Kill. So, yeah. But I've not seen this one. So I can't wait to watch it. Whether it'll be on this or DVD, I don't know, but I will. There's not many I haven't seen, though. That's one of them. Went and got a coffee till just after 11, and then popped round to the British Heart Foundation. 2 DVD spinny rack thingies at the front, both full. One with like Blu-rays, CDs. Other one with DVDs and games. Quite a lot of games. There was a couple of Xbox games. Nothing major. The basic FIFAs, really. More PS2 games. But none that stood out to me, really. There's one game I saw which I've debated buying for the Xbox 360. Decided against it. Looked it up on the CX app and found that actually it sells for 10 quid. And if I decided to trade it in, I would have got either £4 cash or £6 trade. And then I thought, you know what? My brother's got this game. He wants to play it on PS2, but it's having problems because I don't think we've got the right controller for the PS2. I thought, you know what? It's £3. It's a huge bargain compared to how much it is in CX. And I thought, also, it's a racing game. I like racing games. It's a Need for Speed game. I like them. You know what? What the hell? Let's buy it. If I don't like it, at least I'll get my money back. So I went to buy it. And here it is. It is Need for Speed Carbon for £3. Now, if you see my short I put out yesterday, you'll know why I 100% decided to buy this. Despite what I just said, which is why I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy it. I then noticed something else while looking at it before I went to the till, which clinched my decision. This copy of Need for Speed Carbon, I don't know why it's in a charity shop, because it's so random. It is honestly one of the most random charity shop pickups I've ever seen. It's actually Norwegian. Thus, the Norway flag. And it's the back, which, as I'm sure you can tell, is clearly not in English. And it's, don't know whether you can see it, but EA Norge.no, which makes sense, Norge for Norway. So, yeah, random Norwegian Need for Speed Carbon. I said I was going to pick it up anyway, give it a go, because I like racing games, thought my brother would like to play it. And then when I realised it was Norwegian, that just cemented the decision. So even if I don't like it now, I'm not going to trade it, I'm going to keep it regardless. So, yeah, random foreign game to add to the collection. Disc is in English. It's not in the best condition on the inside, but to be honest, it's not too bad, and the outside looks fine. It might be the case of it's actually an English game. It's just sold with Norwegian cover. I've heard of other games that do that. The basic games in English, German, etc. But they have localized sleeves. I think I've seen a Finnish game before with the same sort of thing. So yeah, but either way, it's a Norwegian version of Need for Speed Carbon, and the disc is mint. No manual, which is a bit of a shame actually, because that would have been interesting. But then again, it could have been in English with the quick start Norwegian, who knows. But yeah, Norwegian Need for Speed Carbon. Now, before I go into the market pickups, I actually had a game arrive as well yesterday. After some mail issues. Let's say that. This was £17 on eBay. Bought it about a week ago. And it's a Wii game. And it ties into the one I mentioned in CX. And it's not normal for me to spend 17 quid on a Wii game, admittedly. If I buy one. Well, I don't really buy them now. I've got all the ones I want, really. The exception was I actually paid £17 for the last one, which was Mario Galaxy 2. But I thought that was an exception, but there you go as well. So maybe not now. Who knows? Definitely would have been. Used to buy all the cheap ones. Saw this on eBay. Didn't have it. It's one I think I was always going to get at some point. And I'm intrigued to try it. I've never played it. And it is Poker Park Wii Pikachu's Adventure. So this is my, depends how you look at it, second or third Pokemon game for the Wii. I have Battle Revolution, which is the Diamond and Pearl version of Colosseum Stadium, them ones. But I have it in English and Japanese. So this is my first non-Battle Revolution. So second that way, third if you just count general Pokemon games. I don't know. And the one I saw in CX in Stratford for £22, which is how much this normally is in CX, is the sequel one. This only goes up to Generation 4. That's why we get Pokemon like Baneri and Crow, don't there? The second one features Gen 5 Pokemon. So at some point I'll get that as well. But £17, this was £5 cheaper than CX, and to be honest, it looks mint. It's got the manual complete, the disc is mint. Yeah. So really happy to have this. It's a different sort of Pokemon game, one I've been after for a while. Haven't really seen much, although I did find at my local CX apparently at both of them, so that's interesting. If the second one still they want to get paid, I might buy it depending on what condition it's in. But there's not many more Wii games I want anyway. But this and the second one were some of them. But yeah, Poké Park Wii. And that brings us to the gaming market. Got there a little bit after 12. I was in the queue. I think there was like one person behind me most. Gurnaldinho arrived, so we were in the queue. Big Game Out had early entry, came out after being there for an hour or so. Said it's rammed in there, and to be honest, he wasn't wrong. It was ridiculously full in there. Joined us in the queue, just spoke to us while we went and got our tickets. Got in there, kind of split up, met up, caught up with each other every now and then. Went to the pub for a bit, and then after that we went to a couple more pubs after it finished. Last one being where we watched the football. So one of the first stalls I went to, I think it's Doorway to Darkness or something like that. Apologies if I butchered the name. Doorway to Darkness, who are apparently down. I've heard people mention it on YouTube. Well, they're at the gaming market. And it's £4 with no manual, but I bought 007 Racing for the PS1. PS1 is not a system I'm really bothered about. I've got a couple of them. I've got a PS2, so I can play these. This isn't a problem. But there's some games I like on there. Driver. No, I actually like a couple of ones. I like, weirdly, Simpsons Wrestling. I know people say it's rubbish, but I like it. I'm weird like that. Got a couple of other weird games on there. Got Powerpuff Girls. Got a couple of other ones, which I could actually show in this video, thinking about it. We'll see. Yeah, but it's a Bond game, and I want pretty much all the Bond games if I can get them. And this one I didn't have. I actually saw it in a couple of stores later where I bought my second game, so I'll show that in a minute as well, for £2. But it was Platinum, which I don't have a problem with generally getting Platinum games. But it depends on the game, if that makes sense. I mean, you can see I've got a Platinum one up here, ironically, for Driver 2, which I like. But it's more based on the franchise, how fussy I am with the Platinum, with manuals, etc. My main ones are Pokemon, Zelda, Sonic, James Bond, and Star Wars. I had to think for a minute there. And PS1 games, if it's Bond, if it's Star Wars, I want it to be like this, to be honest. I'm not so bothered about the manuals, but I don't want it to have the Platinum case, the grey bit down the card side. Whereas the one I saw for £2, how good a condition it was in, whereas manual, I don't know. It was £2. It was the Platinum one. And I think deep down it would have bugged me if it was. So I'm happy I bought this one. But yeah, 007 Racing. Heard about it, never seen it, now I've got it. Second game was this one at the £2 007 Racing game. And it's a different racing game, ironically. It was £2 and F1 World Grand Prix. Made by the same people who do it on Dreamcast and Nintendo 64, except on Nintendo 64, F1 World Grand Prix, I believe, is the 1997 season. This is actually the 1999 season. Not sure how it works on Dreamcast, I can't remember, but I have got it. I think it might be based on the 98 season on there, which is really weird if that's the case. But yeah, love my F1 games, so this is one I didn't have, and I'd like to see how it compares to the 64 one. It might be a couple of years later, but it's effectively the same game. So I'm intrigued to try it. And for £2, I'm not saying no. Funnily enough, despite not being the biggest PlayStation fan or PS1 collector, I mean, I've got these here, I've got a few FIFAs and a couple of other F1 games I put away for space. I bought 5, which is the most I bought of anything, which is a bit weird. The third game I got is £5, and actually was pretty much the most expensive game I bought, apart from a couple coming later, but you'll understand when you see them. It's £5, and it is Star Trek Invasion. It's a shame it's got a crack down here. Here's the crack. But it's a Star Trek game, and I like Star Trek. So, yeah. Thought I'll give it a try. Also, it's got something to do with the Borg, so it's got to be pretty good. Or hope so, anyway. So, yeah. You're under the command of Lieutenant Commander Worf. So, that makes it a bit more interesting as well, actually. I didn't notice that before. So, yeah. But, like my Star Trek. Been watching Star Trek Picard. Got a few other Star Trek games. So, really had to get this, to be honest. So, yeah. Star Trek Invasion. This one does have a manual and the cover, so there you go. Then I bought 2 more PS1 games. One, I bought one under the suggestion of Gurnaldinho. So the first one I bought, they're actually from the same store, it's just I bought one, then went back later on and bought the other one, is for £1, Star Wars The Phantom Menace, which again, as you can see, it's got a crack and the case is falling to bits, if I'm totally honest. But the actual game itself doesn't look too bad condition. I can always get another case. And it is complete. And in fact, it's got some random F1 race sheet. But more the point, it's pissed off. It's like cheat codes or something. But for £1, I'm happy with that. So yeah, and as I said, being one of my main series, I'd rather have this than the Platinum one. So there it is, episode 1, Phantom Menace. It's got me wondering now if there's an episode 2, Attack the Clones 1, because there's an episode 1 there and an episode 3. So who knows? And the second game from the stall, and to be fair, I think it's a good call by Gurnaldinho. This one is a Platinum, but because it's not one of my main series, I'm not too bothered. But it is a good game. I can't argue about that. It's Bust a Move 2. Got this on the Nintendo 64. It's one of the first ones I bought when I got my current 64, because I used to rent it from Choices Video years and years ago, like 20 odd years ago. It's a fun game. I've even got it on Switch now. Except it's called, is it Puzzle Bobble or something? Whatever it was called in the Neo Geo. Yeah, but it's a fun game. But as I said, not one of my main series, so not to worry about the Platinum. It feels quite heavy though, I will say that. And the case is intact, unlike the other one. Thick manual. So yeah, as Gurnaldinho was telling me, you know it's Buster Moves 2, apparently the case should only say Buster Moves, so yeah, that's interesting. If it's the wrong game, I'll worry it's a quid, but it's all Buster Moves, so I'll take it. Interestingly, out of that stall, they had a few other games. I think they had a Wii U game, potentially, I can't remember what, but it wasn't anything I think anyone might have had, I can't remember. A couple of Wii games, a couple of PSP films, like not Octopus or Bond ones, but them sort of ones. Mega Drive games even, I'll simply grab a couple if nothing else for the case. Basic sports titles. So yeah, but definitely interesting. 4 more games I bought for £3 at a stall. Never heard of this game, so I'm kind of intrigued about it. For PC, I think. To be honest, I don't even think it actually says what it's for, but done to the console, so I'm assuming it's PC. Star Wars Supremacy, which appears to have a, as you can tell, a Star Destroyer. So it just says it's an innovative 3D battle simulation with strategy gaming on an epic scale and comprehensive resource management. So I have no idea what it is, but it's Star Wars, it's PC, it's £3. I'm not going to say no. Don't think it's got a manual, but whatever. Oh, there we go. Windows 95. So there you go. On the disc. Wow. Okay. Don't think I can play it, but what the hell is a Star Wars game? Talking of which, Star Wars, I bought a PSP game, and this one actually is a game. Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron. So these are based on the original Battlefronts that came out about, well, 18, 20 years ago. I can't believe that. Because I know the second one came out pretty much when Revenge of the Sith in 2005. Yeah, this is basically a PSP version, but with a couple of different bits, new story, etc. In fact, this one appears to have come out in 2007, so after Battlefront 2. And as you can tell, it's £3. So, yeah, happy to pick this up. When I get a PSP, it'll be a Star Wars game for me to play. Well, another one. I've got Lethal Assault and one of the Lego ones. Be a different one. It'll be a Battlefront one, so I'm quite happy with that for £3. Yeah. All them games I bought there, well, apart from like the first three, so basically anything since the PS1, along with 3 Pokemon cards I bought, cost me £30. I actually spent another £30 there on 2 games. So that's all the cheap stuff. This is a bit more expensive stuff. And as you may well be aware, if you know me, know my channel, you've watched my videos, especially in the last couple of weeks, but went out when I was off work. I've been adding to my Nintendo 64 PAL cartridge only collection. I'm going for a full set. There's 239 European PAL, 243 if you include Australia PAL. So I got to 164 after buying my last 4. Couple were in Chelmsford, couple in London. And I found 2 at at the market yesterday for a total of £30, and I'm happy with these, especially when I go into a bit more detail. So I did some research on the way home. So the first one of these is Aero Fighters Assault, which as you can see was £12. Now this one, I've had a look, doesn't seem to be in stock in CEX anywhere. And I don't necessarily just mean unboxed. I think even boxed and mint, they had none whatsoever. And if I traded this in, I would actually make £2. They traded it in for 14 voucher. But interestingly, as you can tell from that, they actually sell it for 22. So I don't know why this was only available for 12. I've had a look. It's legit. So it's nearly half price what CX is. But it's not the first time I've had that. My Taz Express, I think it's called, was about 16, 17 quid, and it's 35 at the time in CX. And again, I've checked it, it's legit, so maybe just want to get rid of it, I don't know. Looks pretty good condition as well. I mean, it's got all the basic stuff, the number printing, the square dot, the right board. So, yeah. So, saves a tenner compared to what I would have had to pay in CX if they had it in stock. And second game is £18. Despite saying 20, it was 18. I managed to get them down a couple of quid, which is actually the CEX price. So, I paid right for CX. But again, this one definitely wasn't in stock, unboxed, box or mint, which surprised me a little bit, but makes me happy I bought both of these actually for 30 quid. I think I'm on a bit of a kick for collecting my 64 at the minute. And these two have put me up to 166. But the question is, what game is it? Well, let me just say, and this may well give it away to some people, is I believe it is either the worst rated Nintendo 64 game. If not, it's definitely up there. It's got a horrible reputation. But I'm going for a full set. I need it, and I'm kind of intrigued to see how bad it is. I'm talking about that man who wears his pants over his trousers, Superman 64. So, yeah. I think we all know how bad this game's supposed to be. And soon I'll be able to tell you, because I'll be able to try it. So, yeah. I mean, I've heard of the square jaw, but that's ridiculous. Yeah. Haven't tried either of them yet, but there you go. So, I've actually got a couple more games, which my partner RetroKrazy gave me. I'll share her channel below as well. But I'll do them in a separate video because I kind of forgot to get them out and this one's dragging on a bit. And to be honest, I think now I'm off work, the pickups will slow down a bit. So it'll give me something to work with later on. Although I have got some other games I do want to share, which I bought beforehand and didn't actually show. So, yeah. But it was a fun day out. Happy I went. Spent a bit more money than normal. Great time with friends. Really appreciate it. And, yeah. Thank you for watching the video. I really, really appreciate it. Cake Master Episode 2 is happening. I am going to make it a series. I even bought supplies for it because I saw them cheap when I was out yesterday. So I'll record that soon and it will go up probably towards the end of this week. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Let me know if you're at the market. Otherwise, I will see you soon. May the geek be with you always.